Star Wars is back in theaters again, spearheaded by the iconic Clan of Two. Let's usher in a brand new era of cinematic storytelling for a galaxy far, far away. The review for The Mandalorian and Grogu is coming your way right now. Hello Jedi, Sith, Rebels, and Imps, and welcome to the latest edition of the Porter Report. My name is BJ Porter, and I hope everybody is having an amazing day today. For all of my returning viewers, it is wonderful to see you all again, and for all my first timers out there, welcome, and we hope you enjoy everything that this video and channel has to offer. Yes, buddy, I was just about to get to that. This is my pal Reds. He's going to be joining me today. Say hi to the people, Reds. A literal chatterbox over here. It's going to be a long video. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, summer movie season 2026 is officially underway. And we have a very big Porter Report movie review to kick off the season with. It literally feels like forever since we've seen this universe on the big screen. But after so many years, a new era has dawned as we prepare for another cinematic entry within a galaxy far, far away. Today, I'm giving you guys the official review for Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu, directed by Jon Favreau, and starring Pedro Pascal, Sigourney Weaver, with Steve Blum reprising his role as Zeb Orrelios from the animated show Star Wars Rebels, and Golden Globe winner Jeremy Allen White as the voice of Rada the Hutt. Cinema has a plethora of works that many consider generational, but Star Wars is truly in a class of its own. Nearly 50 years since audiences were first transported to a galaxy far, far away, Star Wars has become more than just an expansive space opera. It has grown into something that transcends movies and has evolved into a cultural phenomenon unlike anything we have seen before. While 2019 saw the end of the Skywalker saga, it was also the beginning of a brand new venture in Star Wars live-action storytelling. Launching with Disney Plus as one of their flagship projects, The Mandalorian introduced a new character to the Star Wars universe in a time period that struck a decent balance between the familiar and the unexplored. Since then, the series has become one of the most popular Star Wars properties thanks to its fast-paced action, gritty world building, and its maintaining of the core philosophies of the franchise. Also, I guess we can give this little green bundle of joy a good amount of the credit too. Yes, you're just as adorable. Stop being so insecure. It's not a good look on you. During Star Wars Celebration 2023, several major Star Wars movie announcements were made, as Lucasfilm was determined to bring Star Wars back to its cinematic roots. However, shortly after those announcements, a surprising yet puzzling curveball was thrown into the mix. Instead of doing a fourth season of the streaming series, the decision was made to instead deliver a full-length feature film with Din and Grogu at the center. While exciting at the time, debates started to arise on whether or not this was the right decision to make, especially knowing that not everybody has access to Disney Plus. As the official kickoff of a new era of Star Wars filmmaking, the only question on everybody's mind is, will this adventure be worthy enough to put on the big screen, or would have this just been better as an 8-episode season of television? The time for talk is over and the Force is calling us. So let's put on our armor and discover those answers firsthand. Here's the Porter Report movie review for The Mandalorian and Grogu. Buddy, that's his line. In a period of galactic peace, a great darkness grows just under the surface. 5 years following the demise of the Emperor, the remnants of the once prominent galactic empire are slowly rebuilding their ranks, putting them in position to re-emerge and challenge the New Republic in an attempt to retake control of the galaxy. A group of New Republic air marshals under the command of Colonel Ward work to try to stifle the growing threat, but are stretched too thin to truly make a dent, especially with members of the Republic Senate refusing to take the matter more seriously. Out of options and desperate to get ahead of the curve, Ward decides to enlist some help from the far reaches of the Outer Rim. Known across the territories for their heroic escapades, a Mandalorian warrior named Din and his Force-sensitive adoptee Grogu are recruited by Ward to hunt down key figures who are considered high-value targets to the New Republic. In their attempts to provide assistance, Din and Grogu find themselves going from the hunters to being the hunted, as they are soon pursued by a bevy of ruthless bounty hunters under the command of the surviving members of the infamous Hutt cartel. With enemies closing in from all sides and with the desperation to protect each other growing with each passing moment, Din and Grogu must confront the harsh reality before them and truly decide what is worth fighting for, despite what could be at stake regarding the bond they have built together. For the first time since December 2019, Star Wars makes its long-awaited return to the big screen in the latest cinematic chapter of the saga with the arrival of The Mandalorian and Grogu. Serving as the theatrical continuation of the acclaimed Disney Plus series, the film looks to kick off a promising and prosperous new era of cinematic storytelling within a galaxy far, far away. After witnessing this large-scale adventure with the iconic clan of two, The Mandalorian and Grogu is a thrillingly entertaining adventure within a galaxy far, far away. The decision to do a feature-length film as opposed to a fourth season of the acclaimed series has been met with confusion and at times cynical dismissal. Detractors find very little justification for putting two characters that originated on the small screen on the big screen, especially if the story could just as effectively be told in a standard 8-episode format. All that said, Jon Favreau still manages to deliver a Mandalorian story that may not be the large-scale Star Wars cinematic epic we've been waiting for since the end of the Skywalker saga, but it is still such a thrill to join these iconic characters in an action-packed summer blockbuster filled with everything you want from an adventure movie set in one of the most beloved universes in fiction. The aforementioned characters are the main thing that makes this film work, and our titular duo of Din and Grogu is a pair that you never get tired of watching on screen. The relationship that the two of them have is the heart of the film and is responsible for the majority of the film's laugh-out-loud moments as well as the emotional ones. Pedro Pascal, as always, delivers as Din, truly fitting the action hero archetype to a T. The immaculate stunt work and Pascal's vocal performance make Din such a force to be reckoned with from scene to scene. While Din does the heavy lifting when it comes to the action, Grogu is without question and to nobody's surprise the straight-up star of the film. Every moment he is on screen is a delight as the character is brought to life in a way that makes him present and real whenever he shares the screen with another character, real or digital. For those who have grown with Grogu since his introduction in season 1 of the streaming series, he shows tremendous character growth as he goes from being helpless to nearly being Din's equal to an obvious extent. Needless to say, the little green force user is worth the price of admission alone. The other characters are fun in the time that they're given as well. Sigourney Weaver is not in many scenes but works well with what she has in her role as Colonel Ward. Conversely, Zeb Orrelios from Star Wars Rebels, played by the character's original voice actor Steve Blum, is such a fun addition to the movie, and I was thrilled to be able to see him in action more prominently after his live-action introduction in season 3 of the streaming series. But in my honest opinion, the real standout in this film was surprisingly Rada the Hutt, voiced by Jeremy Allen White. This is the character's first real major front and center role in a Star Wars story since his franchise debut as an infant in season 1 of Star Wars The Clone Wars. This allowed the character to be a blank canvas for Favreau, allowing him to craft a new version of him that fit into his story and his part of Star Wars canon. The results ended up turning Rada into genuinely one of the film's best characters. Rada the Hutt is given so much humanity and depth thanks to the voice work of Alan White. Eager to carve out his own path outside of the shadow of his problematic family, Rada aims to take control of his own destiny and be his own person. In addition to that, some of the scenes he shares with Grogu are among some of the most heartwarming and cheer-worthy moments of the movie. Rada is such a great addition to The Mandalorian and Grogu, and I am eager to see what is in store for him as the Mandoverse expands and continues. This brings me to the bantha in the room, which is the film standing within the Mandoverse and the Star Wars cinematic portfolio as a whole. I want to be clear that as a movie, the film does a ton of things right to make this feel like an authentic Mandalorian adventure. Unfortunately and predictably, that could see a ton of people dismissing this as a glorified condensed season of television. We are so used to seeing Din and Grogu on the small screen that putting them on the big screen can be seen as a safe gamble that doesn't truly push Star Wars forward. While the goal was absolutely get the franchise back in theaters again, you can't help but wonder if some of the other options that were on the table would have made a bigger splash in terms of really signaling that the series wasn't just relying on the familiar as they've been accused of doing in the past. Let it be known, however, that if you're looking for a Star Wars movie that is filled to the brim with fun and excitement, you are absolutely gonna get your money's worth. This film is a wall-to-wall action fest with set pieces delivering thrilling gunplay, hand-to-hand combat, monster battles, and adrenaline-laced chase sequences both on the ground and in the air. It is the type of cinematic thrill ride that is nothing more than pure big screen fun. The movie is also as heartfelt as it is explosively thrilling. Most of the biggest emotional moments come in the last act, but they are embedded throughout the narrative. Most of those emotional moments aren't going to hit as hard if you haven't been following what's been going on the Disney Plus series. However, it all still manages to work because you care about the characters on the screen, which is the main thing that truly makes or breaks a film like this. Yes, you are guaranteed to have a better investment in the characters if you've been following them since season 1 of the streaming series. But for those jumping in for the first time, there is enough of an emotional foundation to truly make the trip joyful in more ways than one. All in all, The Mandalorian and Grogu is just a good time within a galaxy far, far away. The action on screen is frenetic and fun, fun, the story is simple and by the numbers, but it is hard not to feel like you didn't have a blast from first frame to last. While there is still debate on whether or not this was the right strategy to use when it comes to bringing this franchise back to theaters, the latest adventure of the Clan of Two is still a forceful cinematic thrill ride within the vast galaxy of Star Wars storytelling. It has been a good little while since we've had Star Wars grace the big screen. Its return is deserving of fanfare given its impact on cinema as a whole. The decision to bring The Mandalorian and Grogu to theaters was met with intrigue from some, and disappointment and skepticism from others. It is a very safe approach to take which could turn some people off, especially when you know what could have been released in its place. But to be honest with you, I would be lying if I said I didn't have a blast with what I was given. The Mandalorian and Grogu may not be the Star Wars movie we asked for or needed, but it was still such a fun and exciting cinematic return to a galaxy far, far away. One of the biggest concerns I had for this film was whether or not it was going to feel cinematic enough and not just feel like an extended episode of the series. The film's cinematography and look is vibrant, the action at times is large scale to an extent, and as thrilling as this movie is, it is packed to the gills with heart with Din and Grogu at the center. I also want to commend Favreau for creating a standalone story where you're not punished if you haven't seen the streaming series. There are a couple of things peppered in there for fans who have been there since day one, but the movie doesn't punish you for not doing some of the pre-watch homework that say some of the recent MCU films have asked you to do. That being said, as a fan of Star Wars Rebels, it was really cool to be able to see Zeb in action after his brief cameo in Season 3. And as I said in my review, I absolutely love Rada as a character. Jeremy Allen White gives this character such humanity and individuality as he works to carve out a path all his own. Also, his relationship with Grogu is one of the best things about this movie. Rada is like a big brother to him, and it is absolutely fantastic. In the end, guys, The Mandalorian and Grogu, I think, is a welcome return to Star Wars cinematic storytelling and honestly one of the most fun times I've had at the movies this year. This is a franchise filled with philosophical lessons, gritty world building, and at times hard-hitting and socially relevant political commentary. But at its core, Star Wars is meant to bring joy and be a world that you want to get lost in. The franchise being fun is one of the main reasons why people fell in love with it, and we should stop treating it like it's a crime. Not every Star Wars project has to be like Andor or The Empire Strikes Back. Sometimes it's perfectly fine to have a fun and fast-paced adventure in a galaxy far, far away. For the generation growing up now, this could very well be their first step into a larger world, even if they've never seen the streaming series. Not only could this film be the thing that gets them invested in this world and the characters within it, but it could be the thing that sparks their imagination and changes their lives, just like the original film from 1977 did for Favreau and so many others like him. If that was the goal from the beginning, I can absolutely see that as something worthy of praise. But now that you've heard from me, I now want to hear from all of you guys. Sound off in the comments below your thoughts about The Mandalorian and Grogu, but be mindful of anything that could potentially be seen as a spoiler. The film had the odds stacked against it, but in the end, I think it did exactly what it needed to do. Get people excited about this franchise being back where it belongs. Now that that's done, we can move on to stories that are bigger, bolder, and move the franchise forward. And it seems that is the exact route they're taking when you look at what's on the docket for the franchise next year. It feels so good to have Star Wars back in theaters again, and here's hoping this new cinematic era brings an all-new level of force to the next generation. Make sure to keep it locked to the channel for more videos and reviews throughout the remainder of summer movie season 2026 and beyond. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and tell a friend to stop on by. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day, and until the next review, I'm BJ Porter, and this has been the Porter Report. Oh yeah, that's right. And may the force be with you. I almost forgot about that, buddy. Thank you.